Oh, there we go. Right as I ask. So, hi guys. I know just two of y'all, but hopefully more people will join later on, as Debbie said. So today we're going over more math, but this time our practice problems will be from the calculator section. So if you do have a calculator, it can be really any type of calculator for now. If you have a really fancy one, go ahead and use it. If you have a basic one, go ahead and use it. Honestly, if you want to use your phone calculator, for now you can, but just making sure you have a calculator. Um, yeah, so the SAT math section, as we talked about before, the SAT math test is 80 minutes and has 58 questions, 45 of which are multiple choice, and they will have 4 answer choices, and 13 are grid-in, meaning you have to put in your answer. There are 2 section passages total, calculator portion, which is 38 questions with 55 minutes, and the no calculator portion, which is 25 I can't read today. 20 questions in 25 minutes. And you will be seeing 4 types of questions: heart of algebra, problem solving and data analysis, passport to advanced math, and additional topics in math. And we went over these subscores in our last meeting. So they're recorded. If you weren't here last time, you can catch up on the last session. So the testing format. You have 80% of the questions will be multiple choice, meaning you have 1 correct answer. However, we do recommend you to fill in all of the questions, even if you do not know the answer, because there is no penalty for selecting an incorrect answer. So answer every question. And 20% are gridded response questions, meaning student produced response questions, meaning your answer will be a number, either a fraction, decimal, or a positive integer. And again, there is no penalty for answering incorrectly. So you do just want to put in an answer, even if you're not 100% sure it is, because you have a better chance of getting it right if you put something down versus if you put nothing down. And here is the formula sheet you will see on both the no calculator and the calculator section of the math portion. As you can see, you do have some you have areas, you have volume, and you have some special right triangles, and you have some information down below. It is recommended that you do know the information on this formula sheet. However, you will have it, so you can reference back to it when you're taking the SAT, but flip-flopping back and forth with the first page of the exam to the last page of the exam might cost you like a couple of seconds that could be vital in answering really hard questions. So it's recommended you know what these are, but in case you do blank, you have it as like a nice wall to fall back to. So since we're talking about the calculators, in the United States, the most commonly one used, I feel like, or at least in my environment, is the T184, which is the Texas Instruments 84. This is an acceptable calculator. It's a graphing calculator. You can put programs in it, customize it however you want. However, it is really expensive. So if you're just using this type of calculator for the SAT, we do not recommend you buying a $100 calculator just for one exam. I have it because I've used it since freshman year, and I'll probably be using it for the rest of my life. This is an investment. I will never lose this. But here's some of the unacceptable calculators. So you can't use laptops or computers, tablets, cell phones, or smartphones of any kind. You will be asked to either turn off your phone or put it on airplane mode. And I have, it has happened to me where I've been in a session and a phone has gone off and the student was asked to leave. So phones, not acceptable as calculators. Smartwatches, wearable technology of any kind, again, you will be asked to turn these off, so they will not be any use to you during the SAT. Another is models that can access the internet, have wireless, Bluetooth, cellular, audio, video recording, and playing camera, or any smartphone type features. So it has to be exclusively a calculator. Models that have a computer style keyboard, pen input, or stylus. Models that can use electrical outlets, make noise, or have a paper tape calculator function on a mobile phone. Again, you can use a calculator phone right now when you do practice questions, but not when you're taking the actual SAT. And in addition, the use of hardware peripherals such as a stylus with an approved calculator is not permitted. Some models with touchscreen capability are not permitted, and they give you an example, the Casio ClassPad. So they just want you with a calculator. Graphing calculator should be fine, but once you start to get into it feels more like a laptop, cell phone, that's when it's unacceptable. And this is exactly what you'll see on the SAT website. So if you don't believe me, take the words from the SAT website themselves. So for today, we're going to be going over hidden patterns on the math section. And this has to involve with like the answer choices or the questions themselves. So the first part is going to be pre-solution patterns. Before you even get to the answer choice, before you get to your answer, you're looking at the answer choices. And so some things we're going to be going over are halves and doubles, opposites, first and last terms, and wrong answers, imitating. The other thing is post-solution patterns, meaning how the answer choices can trip you up once you already did your work for the problem, like right approach, wrong step, and right answer, and then right approach, wrong step, and right answer, wrong question. So if you're confused about the last two, just like how I tripped myself over, don't worry, we'll be going over them. So the first one is pre-solution halves and doubles. So this means the answer choices will either be half or double of the actual answer choice. So this is an indication that, let's say the answer choice you got is 3 and another answer choice is 9. You say, okay, maybe I'm on the right track, but that doesn't necessarily mean 3 is the correct answer, if that makes sense. So here's an example problem. A certain colony of bacteria began with 1 cell and the population doubled every 20 minutes. What was the population of the colony after 2 hours? As you can see, all of the answer choices are multiples of 6, and you have 6 and 12, which are halves from each other. 32 and 64 are halves from each other. So if you have essentially 2 answer choices, one that's either 6 or 12 or 32 and 64. Those are the 2 that are kind of together. And you can notice these patterns to make it easier for yourself to solve these in the long term. The next one is opposites. This means answer choices that are opposite of the right answer. Apparently, I don't know my rights from rights, either through the sign of the number or the reciprocal. So here's another example. And as you can see, we're focusing on the answer choices for now. You have -2 and +2, -1 and -1. So you look at this question and it's going to be 4x minus x squared equals 4. So you're most likely going to get 1 or 2 as the absolute value of your answer choice. And you know you're on the right track. But then you have to figure out whether it's positive or negative. And it's purposely giving you just 2 real answer choices, 1 and 2, and then making sure you know if it's positive or negative. It'd be much easier if it was just like -1, -2, -3, -4. But the SAT is not making your life easier. It's making your life more complicated with these answer choices. And finally, first and last terms. When seeing terms in the list, focus on the first and last terms. When the series are involved in the answer choices, we'll typically find that the correct answer isn't the first or the last number in the series. So keeping that in mind, look at those first and last terms and there'll be indications of whether your answer is right or whether it's wrong. And I think the final one for pre-solution is wrong answers imitate right answers. So notice how 3/4 or 3 out of the 4 answer choices have 4 in the numerator, or notice how 1/2 of the answer choices have 48 in the denominator. So it's just simple changes to the questions that resemble the correct answer. So this can trip you up. So let's say you think the answer is 14 out of 48 and you just see A and you just miss the 1 and bubble in 1 very quickly on your answer choice. You got the question wrong, but you knew it was the right answer. So keep that in mind that if you're doing the SAT really fast and as fast as you can, you might trip up just bubbling in because the answer choices look very similar to each other. So just keep that in mind when working through the SAT. These are just some patterns you may look for in the pre-solution, meaning you haven't started your work on the problem. You're just looking at the answer choices and what that can tell you about what the correct answer is. If I was looking at this question, it would probably be either A, B, or C because they do all have 4 in the numerator. But hey, it could be D. Maybe it's throwing me off. So patterns to look for when taking the exam. Post-solution. All right, moving on. So the first one out of the 2 is right approach, but you're doing the wrong step. So the SAT might give you a problem with multiple steps, hoping for you to trip up over one of them. This could be as simple as forgetting a negative sign or multiplying instead of dividing. I know I'm very susceptible to forgetting a negative sign. I remember taking so many exams, especially in chemistry, and my teacher would be like, "You got the right answer. You just forgot this negative sign. Why didn't it carry over?" And I would say, I am so sorry. So the SAT will also know that students do that just like me. So you want to make sure you look at your negatives, or you making sure you're multiplying, not dividing, dividing instead of multiplying. The second one is you have the right answer, but you're asking the wrong question. You're answering the wrong question. So you have to make sure you read carefully. The question could mention both area and perimeter, but only be asking for one of them. You have to be careful which one the SAT is asking. Especially if you do have an area or perimeter question, it might not be very clear as to what it's asking you. Especially when you do want to go really fast on these math sections, you are susceptible to like reading the question wrong. So you have to make sure what is the correct answer choice. And if the SAT knows, oh, they're going to multiply by 2 instead of dividing by 2, the answer choice then you'll have an answer choice that divides by 2 instead of multiplying by 2. So yeah, those are the hidden patterns you should look for on the math section. I kind of went through those fairly quickly in like 10 minutes. So if anyone has any questions on either anything I just went over, or any questions about the SAT math section with the calculator specifically, because we will be shifting to practice questions next. Oh, okay. I don't know if we should take a break because it's only been like 10 minutes.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking maybe we could do 10 minutes of practice and then take a little break between that.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. I do need to get my Apple Pencil though. 1 second. I'm like rolling around. I'm taking advantage of my rolly chair. Okay, I'm back. I do have to stop sharing, but this will be quick. So now all the questions we're going to do are from practice test number 9, which you can find on the SAT website. And they're all from the calculator portion of that practice test 9. Please connect. Didn't want to connect. I was kind of worried. So if you are wondering if you want to do these questions over, it is on that section of the exam. Yeah. So here we have 4 questions. Each question you have 1 minute and 25 seconds to do. So if you multiply that by 5, I don't know how much that is. So I'll figure it out very quickly. So you're going to have a total of 5 minutes and something. Okay, you're gonna have 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I did the math very quickly. By quickly, I mean not that quickly. You're gonna have 5 minutes and 40 seconds to do these questions. Of course, on the actual SAT, you're gonna have the total time, but because we're virtual, we have to change it up. So if you haven't started on these questions, go ahead and start. Again, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So time officially starts right now, but that's because I took a little. You'll usually get that much. Yeah.
We can use calculator, right? Or, okay.
Yeah, and if you don't have an actual calculator, your phone is okay for now. Just keep in mind, only use the calculator app. Hi there. You just joined. We're doing these questions. You have 2 minutes left. That's okay. For these first 4 questions, we're now doing practice questions from the SAT practice test number 9 calculator section. So if you do have your calculator with you, go ahead and use it for these questions, and you're allowed to use your calculator for all the questions we'll be doing today. So that was 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The last person who joined, I do apologize. I will stop time, but for the next couple questions, you will have full time, so don't worry. So for the first question, to the ones who did finish, if you did get to finish, what did you get for question number 1? You can either say it or just type it out in the chat. Oh, there is B. Okay. Got 2 B's. 8, which is B, and good job, guys. B is the correct answer. Yep, so this is just a simple algebraic equation. You'll probably be seeing a lot of these. Yeah. Isolate X, you get B. Number 2, what did you get for number 2? Okay, so we have a B and D. I don't know if Roberto, you got to that question. Maybe not. But yeah, so you have 2 answer choices, B and D. If we look at them, B is 20 and D is 980. So it's asking for the best approximations of the length. So you're going to be multiplying 7 times 140, which would give you D. B would be the answer choice where you would divide 140 by 7, but it is asking for the total length. So it'd be multiplication instead. Yep. All right, number 3. Another algebraic question, right? We got 2 B's. Yep. This time it is B. So yeah. So if you just figure it out, you figure out that N is going to be 25, or you just have 25 times 2 minus 1, 49. Good job, guys. And then number 4, what did y'all get for number 4? Seeing A's. And the answer choice, yep, is A. So yeah, if it's a negative, you won't be able to do that. So good job, guys. These are the easy ones. These are the first 4 questions you'll see. And the SAT doesn't go from easy to hardest. Sometimes you'll see really easy questions by the end or really hard ones in the beginning. For the most part, the first couple of questions you'll see are relatively easy and should be like the ones that take you super fast to go through. Right. Now we have some paired questions, questions 5 and 6. And for these, you will have 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So your time begins now. And that was time. So what did y'all get for question number 5? So you got D. Yep, you're right. Y'all are right. It is D. You just got to look at. That is very thick. That is not what I wanted. You just got to look up here and which one's the closest one. There's only one real answer choice that's really close to that, which is 195. It would be really tricky if they were like 195, 196, because then that would be literally impossible to answer. So 195 would be the best guess. And number 6, where does the coffee decrease at the greatest average rate? Am I seeing both a D and an A again, or is it just an A? I think it's just an A. Never mind. Just one A. So again, another A. Roberto answered Did you get A? Did you not get A? It's okay if you didn't get anything. So I'll just practice. Well, good for y'all because you are correct. So if you look at it, it's just, yeah, it's like decay. So it's like the biggest decrease is going to be at the very beginning. And it slowly gets less. So good job, guys. Knowing how to read graphs.
Just a quick little, like, since like Marcela said decay, like in case you're not aware of how that works, because I know for me, I wouldn't have worded it like that. It's just the point with the steepest slope will show the most, like the greatest change.
Yeah. Yeah, good explanation. I forget to like explain what I say sometimes. And it's like, people are confused. I'm like, why are you confused? And then I remember, I never explained myself. It's a great time. Okay, next question. You have 1 minute and 25 seconds to do this one. Time begins now. I saw another person joined. Hi, we're doing practice questions. I went really fast on the concepts for today. So we're doing this question right now. People are putting in their answer choices if they have them. As you can see, Roberto got C. If you want to try and quickly do it right now, as other people type in their answer choices, that's good.
Yes,
If not, you can skip this question. And once we start the next two, which you can somewhat see, did not realize you could somewhat see them. You can start working on those. So currently we have one answer choice C, 80 degrees. We also have A. And then we have another C. So for this question, I guess I'll just do it since we have different answer choices, is we know that I personally draw everywhere. So, you know that X is equal to 100. So I would personally just write the 100 there. The next thing you know is that in a triangle, you have 180 degrees in a triangle. So you know that these two are going to have to 120, and you need it to be, for the last angle, to be 180 minus 120. So that is 60 degrees. So that's this angle right here. Since at the point C, you have two vertical angles, these are going to be congruent, meaning they're going to be the same angle, same number. They also look the same. And that's the thing about the SAT. It says not drawn to scale, so you can't really assume that. If that wasn't there, you could, but because it says not drawn to scale, you can't just look at them and say, oh, they're congruent. There has to be a reason. And for this one, it's because they're vertical angles, so they must be congruent. So all that's left is you have 60 over here. 60 plus 40 is 100. Again, you have a triangle, it's 180 degrees. So 180 minus 100 will be giving you C as the correct answer choice. So to the person that got A, maybe that was just some miscalculation somewhere. So ta-da. That is your correct answer choice. And now we have two more. These are more with looking at graphs and charts, as you will see on the calculator section for these. Because it is 2 on one slide, you have 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and your time begins now. Okay, that was time. So I see that we have one answer for 8A. What did everyone else get for A? See, I didn't trip over my words that time. I said it correctly, but I mentally thought I did. Why am I like this? I don't. Okay, we have 2, 3, 3As. 8A. Okay. I only have 4 people, but for the 3 people who got A, you are correct. Answer choice is correct, and all you need to do is find 2 points that are on the graph, and you do rise over run, which you find is 2. Therefore, the cost for each additional mile traveled will be $2. And number 9, a probability question. My favorites. So I see 1C and B. So C and B. Anyone else for question number 9? Actually, B, I think. Okay, So now we have two B's. Can y'all hear the crows? No, so they're just annoying me. Great. So currently we have B's as the answer choice. So if we look at this, we have what is the probability that a gas station customer selected at random did not purchase gasoline, right? So what that's asking for is total number of customers as your whole. That's what you're comparing it to. Oh, and then we got a D. So we have two answers, B and D. Didn't see that. I was working on the question. And then what you're looking for is did not purchase gasoline. So did not purchase gasoline. So your total amount, all of your customers, no matter if they purchased your beverage or didn't purchase the beverage, is going to be, or gasoline purchase, it doesn't matter. It's going to be 135. So just based on that, you automatically know that the answer choice is going to be D. Just because there's no other answer choice with 135 unless it was simplified, but I'll do the top part as well. So then you have to say, okay, which customers did not purchase gasoline? So you're going to be looking at the row that's just gasoline. Oh, that's not highlighted. Gasoline not purchased. And because it's not asking whether the customer purchased a beverage or did not purchase a beverage, it's just asking at random, does not matter their purchasing of a beverage, you're going to be taking the 50. So the answer choice is D, 50 over 135. So hopefully that clarifies. For answer choice B, 15 over 40, that is how many people did not purchase gasoline, which is correct, 15, but you're just asking the people who also did not purchase a beverage. So that's not the whole part you're looking for. And for when we got a C, that was, you had the total for gasoline not purchased as 50, but then you just took the number of people who purchased a beverage. So you had the right idea looking at both gasoline not purchased for B and C, but you didn't add them together to get 50. So hopefully that clarifies that question up. If you do have any other questions, comments, or concerns. If not, we will be moving on to the next question, number 10, which, look at that, it's probability, but this time make it fractions and proportions, kind of. It's not really probability. Ignore me. You have 1 minute and 25 seconds to solve for this question. Since it's just one, time begins now. And that was time. You would think after like doing these, like this is the 4th time we're doing practice questions, I would get used to my own alarm. The answer is I'm not used to it and it scared me again. So, okay, question number 10. How many seniors do y'all think there were? Couldn't finish it. That is okay. If you can't finish it, keep in mind that I'm just doing it based on like total number of questions on the calculator section, dividing it by the total time due to the fact that we're virtual and we're doing question by question. If this was the actual exam, you would have the total time. The first 4 questions would probably take you not a long time and you would get more time on this. So just keep that in mind that if you're like, oh, this is weird, it's because it is a bit weird to do it like this. So does anyone else need more time for this question? Because if not, I can just give you more time until you get the correct answer. I think I saw a nod. So for this question, you can just keep working on it until you have a correct answer. And once we get a couple of answer choices, we will see what we get. One answer choice right now. We have D. Once you have your answer choice, that's what I hear every time. I just put it on to see how long, but it's a terrifying noise when you forget it's there. It also just fun fact, it was my alarm like all high school. So I'm also traumatized from that sound. If anyone has an iPhone, that's like the default. I recommend you change it to like a really annoying song. Okay, moving on. We got more D's. Okay. So D, so you took more time. I am happy to say that D is the correct answer choice. So good job, guys. Yeah. You don't have to do this like super with all the calculations. I remember doing it and I was looking at it and I was like, oh, this looks like a terrible question. So with like 336, you divide it by 4. I think what I did was just use a slightly easier number that was slightly similar to 336. And that might get you 70. I think it got me around like 80. And I was like, oh, so it must be 70 because I overestimated. However, that's just like for guessing. Doesn't mean it will always lead you to the right answer. But if you just cannot solve this question, recommend using an easier number. But yeah, use your calculator to your advantage because you will have your calculator. If I did this by hand, I would have cried. So also some of my friends would do in high school. I don't know why they said, I am smarter than the calculator. I don't need the calculator. Like for this question, don't do that. If the SAT says, hey, you can use your calculator, I will be using it for 2 times 5 to make sure that answer choice is 10. Use your calculator when you can. So don't be like them.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna agree with Marcela. Like, if you're allowed to use your calculator, like it'll save you time if you're using it correctly. Like, don't The SAT is not going to give you extra points because you did this by hand. Like, you're trying to get things done quickly and correctly. So don't even bother being like, oh, well, this is easy. I'll just divide 336 by 4 and then divide. Like, just be quick about it. Like, just get the right answer. That's all they care about. No one's gonna give you a little sticker for doing it by hand. I wish they would give me stickers by doing the little extra effort, but no stickers are given for the SAT. College Board should hire me though. I'd send everyone stickers. It'd be great. It'd be like a little care package when you get your results. College Board, hire me.
Sponsor, at least.
Exactly.
Okay. Next question, question 11. I think we'll do this question and then we'll take a break. So here we have question 11. 1 minute, 25 seconds has begun. That was time. So I see C's. Seeing C's for question 11. Did I do something? No, I didn't do anything. So for this answer, for this little question, it is a ratio question. So it's saying that the heights of plant A to plant B equal the ratio of the heights of plant C to plant D. So because it's just giving you a word problem, but it's all numbers technically, you make it a ratio so you don't confuse yourself in case you do. Because I know I would have. So so it's saying A over B, I'm pretty sure, is equal to C over D, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 2012. Okay, yeah. A and B. So now you can plug in numbers and you're going to get that A, 20 over 12. You're given C, but you are not given D. If you want to use the variable D, you can go ahead. Personally, I would just change it to X or maybe N. I don't know. I personally like using X or N more. You don't have to. So you're going to solve for this. So you're going to get 20D, so use D for now, and then 54 times 12 is going to get you 648. So what I did there is I just kind of like did this whoop the butterfly approach. What you could also do is move the D. So then you would have, let me erase it. Another approach would be to, multiply it by D. So you like kind of, no, that's not what I did. Just move the D so you get this. 12. Yeah. Both of these will get you the same end goal. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. Like again, in this case, I mean, at least I would see it like a regla de tres. So it would be the easiest way that I could see it. So yeah, I mean, at the end it's the same, just that you go like directly to multiplicate and then divide.
Yeah. Again, that rule sounds so nice. I just don't know what it is. I was never really taught it. But yeah, either way works, because where you're gonna end up getting is like you're gonna divide. What am I doing? Because with here you would then multiply the 12. So again, you're getting the same thing at the end of the day. With here, if you divide 20 by D, 648, then I just, what? Sorry, I didn't read the comments. I just rested 20 minus 12, notice it's 8, and added 8 to 54, but maybe that was a coincidence. I think so, because the answer choice is going to end up, the answer, not answer choice, the answer is going to end up being 32.4, which is A. So it's not going to be C. So yeah. I don't know if there's any questions on this one particularly. This is another like pre-solution pattern where before even looking at the question, I already know that this one is the only one with a decimal that's not 0. The other 3 are 0.0. This one's a 0.4. That automatically is going to catch my eye when I look at this question first. So I'm going to pay attention to that answer choice. And once I get down to like this part of the question, I automatically know that 648 is not easily divisible by 20. So I'm like, oh, there's only one answer choice that has a point something in it, which is A. But I would still have to do the work. Okay. So as I promised, now that we've done a couple, and now that it is 2:58, we will take a 5-ish minute break. So go rest. Go pet your pet if you have one. I sadly don't have a pet. I just have annoying crows outside my window today. So yeah, 5-minute break. At around 3:04, we'll be back to finish up the questions. So see y'all then. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Because I just like would see Alexis, like her head would be down, and I feel like with a very like focused face, and I was like, oh, she's getting her math practice in this summer. So yeah, if you have a calculator, go ahead, use it. Again, for now, you can use your calculator on your phone if you have no other option. However, keep in mind on the SAT, your phone will be off. And as I mentioned before, it has happened to me where someone's phone goes off and the proctor says, hey, you have to leave, get out. So
yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Don't be the person that has their phone on. I remember there was one time where the phone was on and like everyone could hear it, but the proctor couldn't hear it. So like as a group, we're like, no one say anything. Everyone stay quiet. No one say anything. Everyone's like, because your test can and potentially will be invalidated. Like you invalidate your test or they invalidate everyone's test in the room because the phone went off. So don't be the person that has their phone go off and then is mortified because the college board themselves will come in, they'll kick down the door and they'll be like, whose phone is that? And then you have to be sentenced by the college board, judge, jury, and executioner, and it's a very long process. So don't be that person.
I have a question. Like, do you guys in the United States, like, do you have your phones with you?
So people leave them, like, I know when I would take the SAT, because usually my mom would like just drop me off and then like drive off. So I'd keep my phone on me, but I'd have it on mute. And then sometimes the proctor would like pass around like a bucket and then they'd keep the bucket in the front of the class.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they'd be sneaky. They're like, I don't feel like doing that. And they'd keep their phone in their pocket. And like, I remember like one time the person next to me had their phone in the pocket. It never went off. The whole time I was like staring. I'm like, I can see that phone. That phone goes off. I'm going to shove it down your throat. Luckily it did not go off. We were good. We were safe, but.
Yeah, because I remember when I took the SAT, like we would have like a box or a bucket, as you said, and we would like put them all in there and we wouldn't take them until the finish of it. So, so yeah, I think that is going to be most likely what you are going to do. You will have to deposit your phone in a bucket or something like that.
As my teacher would refer it, here goes to phone jail. Yeah, I think in the United States, it just depends on your proctor.
Yeah.
Some proctors are like, you got to leave it on your desk, turn it off. I don't remember what exam it was. I think it might have been like a different exam, but like the proctor was like, I need to see you turn off your phone. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is a process that's going to take so long individually, but go ahead. Yes, question.
Yeah, I just was wondering, do you guys like take the SAT like several times in the United States, or just like one time, or like how do you do that?
Most people I know took it multiple times. So this is the way I've always encouraged everyone to take it. Like I tell my own brother to do this, to take it once, like dry, don't take any practice, just like go for it and see what you know. And then from there start studying, because that's the way I did it. Because I took it the first time, did pretty good reading. So I was like, okay, cool, don't really have to worry about the reading. Need to work on the math. The math section was always horrific. Every time, even when I thought I was doing great, I was not doing great. So that's the way most people would do it. They'd take it once and then would take it just to like improve just their math score or just to improve their reading score, because of like the power of super scoring. And that most schools will just take your highest of each. So that's how I know most people at my school and I myself did.
Yeah, definitely most people in my school took it multiple times. Very rare cases where there are people who just took it once and they were like, I'm content with my grade. Very rare was it people who took it more than 5 times, but there were the crazy ones who were like, I'm just going to take it every month. And that is a lot of money I did not have. So we are allowed to take it. I think you're allowed to take it as many times you want, but sometimes colleges will ask for all your attempts, especially if you're super scoring. So like you can't take it multiple times and have the mindset of like, oh, this time I'm only focusing on math, and this time only reading, and this time writing, because if you want the super score, colleges are going to see that. So it doesn't hurt you to take it multiple times. You just have to realize, like, if you're doing it for that reason, it's gonna look bad.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that here in Mexico, we are more used to the fact of not doing as much, because also we have like really specific dates. At least here in Mexico City, like I remember that they were like really specific, because it's not something that we are doing continuously. So yeah, we usually take it about once or twice. I actually took it twice because I didn't did that good in my first try. So I did wanted to retake it. But yeah, I mean, I know people from here, from Mexico City, that did it once and they were happy with their score. And I mean, they got into Chicago actually. So I think, yeah, if you do it once, there's no problem with it.
Okay, thank you.
Now we are back with more questions. There's only 5 of us. I wonder what happened. Oh, I'm scrolling on my laptop as if I'm not projecting on my iPad. Okay. All right, question number 12, some shrimp. Again, you have 1 minute and 25 seconds. So that was time. We only have one answer choice A. So if Lee, if you have your answer, it's okay if you don't. Alexis got A. 12.
I now remember why I hated this calculator. So I took my SAT, the first SAT. This was the calculator I had. It's this sad little, it's from literally the 90s. It's a TI 34. Like, she's not doing much. Another issue is that it's solar powered. And I didn't think to charge it beforehand. Because why would you think to charge a solar panel? So I'm like having to like adjust it in the light so I can see the numbers because all the numbers wouldn't load. And it just happened right now while doing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why I hated taking the SAT the first time, because I was using this. Because my mom really was like, yo, you're taking the SAT here. Yeah, take this. This will help you. This is older than I am. Like, this isn't gonna help me. But whatever. I love you, Mom. You did your best. I appreciate the effort.
Calculators are very helpful, but at the same time, as we see with Alexis, they can hurt you.
Yeah, make sure you know your hardware before you use it. Like if, like
Mhm.
me, if I would have practiced with this calculator beforehand, I would have known you need to keep it in the sun for a bit so you can read the numbers.
So for number 12, it seems like we all got A. So for this one, you have the event is 3.1 miles below the sea surface, and you are trying to convert that into kilometers, which is, my favorite thing ever. So the way that I remember doing this like in chemistry, but I forget like the square thing I would do. So I'm just going to do it like, I'm going to do a proportion. So 1 kilometer miles. I use proportions. If you can use that rule that David talks about, la regla de tres, maybe I don't know how you would, because I'm not used to it. So I'll be using proportions. Kilometers, and then 3.1 miles. You're trying to solve for X. So then I would just, isolate X. And my chemistry roots come back and it's like, oh, look at that. These are going to cancel out because you're dividing miles by miles. So you're left with, kilometers. So then you would just divide 3.1 divided by 0.621, which you're going to get, I think it's 4.99, if I am not mistaken. It's about 4.99.
Yeah.
About. So that's going to be your answer choice. So it's actually going to be D with this one. Yeah, once you have this, you can just, 30 divided by 6 is 5, which is pretty close to your answer choice, D. So it wouldn't be A, which is 2.
Yeah, actually here, yeah, again, we can do regla de tres, but I mean, I'm just saying you that you can do regla de tres because again, they don't care if you get it or you don't get it. They care you get the right answer. But as a chemist, I would feel guilty if I didn't tell you that the right thing to do is un factor de conversión. So, I mean, I don't know if you know what I mean with that.
Is that where you're like, where you have like, and then you do this, and then you have.
Yeah, exactly. That's so that's the right thing to do, like in science or in math, like that's what you should do. But regla de tres is also valid. I mean, you can do it.
I have not seen that since 2 years ago in math. So Marcela, as soon as you did that, I was like thrust back into junior year of high school. I was like, what's going on? I'm terrified. I'm breaking out in a cold sweat.
Yeah, this was all like for me, like I took honors chem, which was the worst idea I ever had, because for that year at my school, regular chemistry was like the easiest thing. Their final project was to filter water. And I was in chemistry trying to figure out like separating all the chemicals and all this stuff with a partner who I never talked to. And this was part of it, that this thing. So yeah. you have multiple ways to solve a question at the end of the day. As long as you get the right answer, that's what's important. Because again, the SAT is not going to give you a sticker for being like, oh, you did it in this special little way. Congrats, here's 10 extra points. They don't care. Okay.
I'd give you a sticker. Actually, I have my little bag of stickers next to me. So I'd give you, which sticker would I give you? I'd give you this. No, just kidding. That one's hard to look for that. Wait, I'm so proud of these. Wait, I'd give you the terrific turtle sticker.
Oh, that's so cute. If it wasn't for COVID, we would give you like actual stickers.
I literally have a bag of stickers next to me. Don't ask why. I can't find a single pen on my desk, but I have a bag of stickers. But
priorities.
Exactly. I have a bunch of stickers.
Just imagine Alexis like in her class, like got one good participation and it's like, yeah, I deserve one. Like I do. That's so cute.
How else am I gonna motivate myself?
Okay. Next question, number 13. Again, 1 minute and 25 seconds to solve. Time has started. So that was 1 minute and 25 seconds. However, if you still need more time, because this seemed like a longer question, if not, you can type in your answer in the chat. We have D, question mark, question mark, question mark. As my dad says, is that an answer? Are you asking me or are you answering me?
My dad says the same thing, and I think it makes me want to go into a fit every time. Again, Marcela, it's not going well. You drew that little chart and you terrified me. You said this, now I'm like, oh, my father says there's too much. Marcela, you're really not helping my anxiety today.
I'm so sorry. We have another answer choice. Clearly, we have someone answering like other people. We have C as the correct answer choice. I'm not saying it's the correct. I'm saying that's the answer choice she gave. I can't speak. Missing from one person. Again, if you don't have your answer, that's okay. But if not, it is to say that C is the correct answer choice. Your answer should be 5. So good job. I would explain it, but since you got it right, and I feel like Alexis can figure out.
I mean, I really, sorry. Like, I really didn't know how to do it. I just like guessed. I mean, with the 5, I multiplied it by 120 and see that I saw that it was a round number. So I just added, like, I just knew that was the correct answer.
Yeah, so definitely you can definitely plug it in and see if you can get the right answer. Plug and chug is completely valid. Well, technically that's not plug and chug because you can do that and you got the right answer, which is important. to do it right, it's giving me a whole paragraph. So I'm going to try and translate this paragraph to make it, I don't need to zoom in. Okay, so your inequality that you're going to have for the total weight of the packages is going to be 120, and I'm going to use A and B, 120A and 100B, and it has to be less than the total, which is 1,100. So what you're doing is you're setting up two inequalities, so kind of like a system, but not really. So that's an equality. The only difference between this and a regular expression is the like less than or greater than sign. For now, we're just going to treat it as normal. We're not going to mess with it right now. And then the next part is, because you're going to have more than one, you're going to have two, is the part that says the helicopter must carry at least 10 packages. So now that you know the maximum weight, you need the minimum amount of boxes. And that one's going to be an easier expression. That one's just going to be A plus B. It has to be greater than or equal to 10. So now that you have these two, the question is asking, what is the maximum number for the 120-pound packages? So that's what you're going to be focusing on. So since you already have 120A, but you have 100B, for the second one, you want to isolate B to replace it with A. So then you're only going to be dealing with the 120 and the variable that corresponds to it, which is A. So you're going to get A is greater than or equal to 10 minus B. Right? Am I doing this right? So then the minimum amount for B, so the minimum value of B, interesting. Why did I do that? Never mind. I take that back. I'm also currently solving it, but like I'm reading the answer and it's giving me a paragraph. Okay, so to maximize the number of 120-pound packages A in the helicopter, the number of 100-pound packages B in the helicopter needs to be minimized. Expressing B in terms of A in the second inequality yields B is greater than or equal to 10 minus A. So I got confused. 10 minus A. And so the minimum value of B is equal to 10 minus A. So that's the important part. I was just switching them up. I was confusing my own variables, which I am terribly sorry about. So this is what you're going to be substituting in because you only want A. What I was doing before was solving for the 100 pounds because then my only one left would be B in the equation, which is not what we want. We don't want B, we want A. So that's where I messed up. So then you're going to have 120A, 100, then you're going to have 10 minus A, and then you're putting it back to the original equation, and you can then distribute these two. So then you're going to have 1,000 and 100A. And if we solve that out, because these are going to be subtracting each other, then you're going to get 20A plus 1,000. And then again, finishing off the equation. Because you're just subtracting, you don't have to mess with the whether or not this is going to flip or not, because you're just subtracting. So don't worry about flipping it right now. And I don't think you ever have to worry about it because you're not dividing by a negative. So you never have to flip it. That is two-way. Whoopsies. And then that's just going to leave you with 100. Now it's much more easy to solve. So then you're going to have to be A has to be less than or equal to 5. And that is your maximum. So you never have to worry, because sometimes you have to worry about this one flipping. But for this question, you never have to worry about that. So that's why I said ignore it. The tricky part, I would say, because I got tripped over it, is making sure you have just A in your variable. So then you can solve for just A, because you're worrying about the maximum amount of 120-pound packages. So hopefully that clarifies things. So this is just a really long word problem, but it's just two inequalities, but it's giving you a word problem to make it confusing, as it confused me, so it worked. And here we have 4 more questions lumped together, mainly because some of these are just algebraic, or at least 2 on that side. So if you have 4 questions, that means you're going to have 5 minutes and 40 seconds, as I took a little too long to calculate that at the beginning. So now you have 5 minutes and 40 seconds to solve these questions, and time has started. So that was time. However, since these are kind of hefty questions, especially like, I mean, all of them are somewhat hefty, but especially the last two. Should I let y'all have a bit more time to work on these, or should we just go through them?
Well, I'm a bit confused with the 16 and I was starting to do 17. So if you want, like, we can go through them or like, I don't know.
Yeah, we can definitely work through them. So did you have an answer choice for number 14? Or an answer?
Yes, it
14?
was, I think it was B, my
B?
answer. Yeah.
So for 14, B is correct. So you're right. Yeah, because you subtract 120,000 minus 30,000, 90,000 over 10 years, divide by 10, 9,000. So yeah, you're gonna get B. Okay, so moving on to question 15. So for 15, it says you got B. And for 15, what you have is a line in the XY plane that contains 2 points, and it gives you the 2 points. So you have to find the equation of the line. So what I would do is I would just, like, personal preference again, because there are different equations for lines, you can use different things. I would just find the slope first. And I know what I would do just to like remind myself, because I do, even like now I would still get it confused, is like I would write like a little XY, XY, because I will get XY confused and I will mess up the answer. So for the slope, I would just do 4 minus 1 and then 2 minus 0, which is going to be 3 over 2. So you automatically know that's going to be your slope. So that eliminates 2 answer choices then, because that's going to be your slope, 3 over 2. So I'm using the equation y equals mx plus b, which I feel like is, at least in the United States, it's the most common equation we use, y equals mx plus b. So this is the part I just solved for. So I know that it's going to be y equals 3 over 2 times x. So I automatically know it's not going to be a and it's not going to be b, just based on just solving for the slope. So you have to keep that in mind when you're solving for it. So it's not going to be b, as you said. And from there, I can just take whatever point I want. I think for it being easier for me to solve, I'm going to just use the point 0, 1, and I'm going to plug it into the equation. So it's going to be 1 equals 3 over 2 times 0 plus b. This is just 0. So then you have 1 equals b, and your answer choice is going to be D. So I know that you can do probably like, you still need the slope though, but it's like y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Is that the equation, the other one?
Yeah, I think so, but I always hated it. I like the way that you did it, actually.
The first one?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I think,
because go ahead.
no, yeah, just I think it's the best because, yeah, as you said, we
Yeah.
need the slope, and I don't know. I think it's just a personal preference, but yeah, you can use whichever you prefer.
Yeah, especially looking at the answer choices, if you do use this one, it's not going to help you. Whereas this is in the mx plus b form. It has a proper name. I just forget what it is. So yeah, moving on to question 16. So is this one you had problems with or confused? Yeah, okay. So yeah, this one's like, it has a lot. So what you're trying to find is the value of b, and it doesn't even have b in the expression. So all it's saying is that this is equal to bx. So something I would quickly do, because I see an x squared, is I would say, oh, so there it equals this plus that, because there is no x squared on the other side. It's just there's a 0 amount of x squared on the other side. And that's going to come in handy later on. So the first thing I would do is just multiply these two right here. So then if we work it out, that's going to be 4ax squared minus 4x plus 4ax minus 4. From here, you add in the second part. And don't worry about the bx for now. From here, I then, what would I do? From here, grouping by powers of x would be the best thing to do, and factoring out their greatest common denominator. Yeah. Oh, and as you can see, the 4 is there. So the 4, I think, is going to cancel each other out. But we'll combine first with the terms. So yeah, these are going to cancel out. And then you have it, the 2x squares are together and the 2x's are together. From here, you can take out the powers of x, 4a minus 1 plus 4x a minus 1. Can I do that? I think I can. For the sake of what I'm doing, I'm just going to take out the x. 4a minus 4a minus 4. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. From here, you know that the x squared, because there's no x squared at the top belonging with the b, we just know it's equal to bx. So that means that this one and this one go together. So if it's 0 over here, we can just ignore it. We're only focusing on, let me make my highlighter big, this one and that part. And essentially what it's saying is because you have x in both terms, so then you have 4a, and you can cancel out the x from there. The x is gone, I think. Yeah. From here, what am I doing? Since the right hand, this gives you, oh, what? So now you're left with 2 terms, which is not helping. Okay, back to what I was doing. So that's not going to get you anywhere, but what you do know is what I was talking about before, is since this and this are both 0, now you have something that's going to equal to, what's it called, to a number and not a variable, which is 4a minus 1 equals 0. Before, this was just going to give you a variable, and we'll use it later, but this actually is going to lead you to a number, which then if you solve it out, then if you solve it out, you're going to have 4a equals 1. And you could, solve that a equals 1/4, but because this is really messy, because you have the expression 4a minus 4 equals b, you don't need to solve it out. You can just plug it in 1 minus 4, and then you get -3 as your answer. This was a very convoluted way to say -3 is your answer. If I got confusing along the way, it's because I myself got confused. But you do need the 4a minus 4 equals b, because then you plug that back in to get b. But you need to realize that because I'm going to erase these two, so it says, hey, there's no x squared, there's no bx squared on the other side. What I can do is say, hey, it's 0 bx squared. You could also say like it equals 0 bx to the third, because there's no power to the third on this side. But then inherently on the other side, there would also be like, but because we're not dealing with power of thirds, they don't it's not in that equation, so we ignore that. Okay, we just have to focus on the second power, and we get -3. So that one was a doozy. So your answer choice is -3. And then did you, either one of y'all, did you get to do number 17? No, okay. Do you want time to do number 17? I could give you like technically the amount of time. Okay. So here we have C. For 17, the answer choice is C. So you are correct. You are right. Answer choice is C. And for this one, it's easier than the last one, I will say. The last one just tripped me up. It's been a while since I had to do full out calculations like this. But for this one, to quickly go over it, oh, no, don't do that. What I would do is, because you have 4W and you have 2W, we want to set them equal to each other. So I would just multiply this expression by 2, or this equation by 2. So then it'd be 4W plus 8T equals 28. From there, I know that 4W is going to equal 28 minus 8T. So then I plug that back in to the second equation. So then you have 28 minus 8T plus 5T equals 25. From there you solve, you get what? Why did I do that? Oh, never mind. You get -3T, you get -3 over here. Okay. So then you're just gonna get T equals 3. Here you could solve it, plug it in back in and get the answer. However, if you notice that, no wait, T is equal to 1. I apologize. I was like, T equals 3, T equals 1. If you notice that T equals 1 and you have essentially very similar answer choices, you have 2W. 2W is not going to change, but you have 4T and 3T. Since T is equal to 1, it's essentially 4 and 3. So all you really have to do to solve this one is 14 minus 1, which is going to be 13, which is C. So that's how I would do that one. There are obviously other ways to do it. You could obviously plug T back into one of the equations and solve for W, but since it's so close to each other, you see it, it's like, oh, 2W is in both of them, and it just changes by 1, 4T to 3T, and T is 1, it's essentially 4 and 3. So that's what you have to look out for on the SAT. Okay, moving on. Questions 18 to 20 are all paired up together. So from here, excuse me, you are going to get 4 minutes and 15 seconds to do these questions, and your time begins now. Okay, so that was time. As I still tried to scroll on my laptop when I have to scroll on my iPad. All right, so for question number 18, what did y'all get? So we have A and just. So for question 18, the answer choice is actually B. Correct answer choice is B. It's given that each serving of crunchy grain provides 5% of an adult's daily allowance of potassium. So X servings would provide X times 5%. The percentage of an adult's daily allowance of potassium, P, is 5 times the number of servings, X. Therefore, the percentage of an adult's daily allowance of potassium is going to be P equals 5X. So hopefully that makes sense for that question. So for number 19, what did y'all get? C for question 19, which is 1/3 of cup. So for this one, the answer choice is actually B, 1/4 cup. So you know that 3/4 of a cup of 3/4 cup serving of the crunchy grain cereal is going to be 210. And you need to know how many it is for 1 cup because, oh, it tells you. Super grain cereal provides 240 calories per cup. If the total number of calories in 1 cup of Jennifer's mixture is 270, how much super grain cereal is in 1 cup of the mixture? So the total number of calories per cup can be found by dividing the 210. That is very skinny. 210 by the 3/4, which, reciprocal, you divide, which would be 4/3. So then it's going to be 280 calories per cup, because you only know that the regular crunchy grain cereal, you only know it's serving for 3/4 of a cup and not a full cup. So then let C be the number of cups of crunchy grain cereal and let S be the number of cups of super grain cereal. So then you are going to have 280 C, which is what you found, plus 240 S. And with Jennifer, who mixes it, her total was 270. So that's going to give you the total amount of calories in the mixture. Again, this is going to be like the other system of equations that we saw. Last time it was inequalities. This is just equation. And then you're going to have C plus S is going to equal 1. Because in total, the amount of crunchy grain cereal with the amount of super grain cereal, it's going to equal to 1 cup. So they have to equal to 1. Because we want to find the super grain cereal, we have to then isolate for C because we want S in the equation. So it's just going to be 1 minus S. So then you have 280, 1 minus S plus 240 S equals 270. If you simplify that, you're going to get 280 minus 280 S plus 240 S. further on that, that's a simple minus 40s, 270, 280. Again, moving forward, you subtract 280 from both sides to get negative 10. Divide both sides by 40. There's negatives on both sides, those cancel out. So you're going to get 1/4. So again, this is another one that's going to be system of either inequalities or for this one, it's equations. So the important part of these questions is you have to figure out what system you're working with. And once you have that system, then you have to make sure you know what you're solving for. In this case, you need to figure out how much super grain cereal is in it. So you don't want the C when you're solving, because then you're solving for the regular crunchy grain, which is not what you want. You might get a different answer, and maybe that was 1/3. So you have to just keep that in mind with these, because there is a longer process compared to the other questions on the SAT. All right, and final question, as we are already at 3:49, question 20.
Well, I didn't actually got time to do that one, but I don't know.
Okay, so we can just like look at it very quickly. I don't have to zoom in that much. Which of the following could be the graph of the number of calories from fat in crunchy grain cereal as a function of the number of 3/4 cup servings of the cereal? This one looks complicated based on just the answer, the question itself. The wording is weird. It's as a function of number of 3/4 cup servings. Why isn't it just in 1 cup servings? I don't know. But the important part is how easy the graphs look. You're not dealing with parabolas. You're not dealing with I don't know what these are called, but those type of graphs. They're just linear. So if you know that you have to start at 0, 0, because if you have 0 amount of servings, you're going to have 0 amount of calories per fat, right? And from there, it's not going to do a weird thing where it's going to go decrease. If you have some amount of servings, you're going to have some amount of fat, and that's only going to increase like A shows. That's all you really have to focus on, is that it's asking for, so A, it's asking for a function of the number of servings and the fat, even though it words it weirdly with 3/4 of a serving, because it wants you to think weirdly, I guess. So any questions on these or on any that we did before that I didn't get to solving very well? No, okay, yeah.
No.
So as you can see, we still had a bunch to do that we didn't get to. So that's a bunch of practice questions. Yep. We are not going over the essay next week, but if you do want the other questions, you can email us and we will send you the questions, send you the presentation so you can do the questions if you want. I can start. You, and then I think that is that is your email, right, Alexis? I did type that in right.
Yeah, you got it.
Yay. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you want the rest of the presentation, you can email one of us and we'll send it. And then we are not going over the essay next week because my little brain did not realize that the SAT is no longer offering the essay, I'm pretty sure. So we will just be going over review. However, it was very confusing because I'm pretty sure they were like, we will no longer be admitting. And then I was like, what about international students? Because I was like, international students is different. If that's the case, that the August exam, because the next one for international is August, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm checking.
I think it's October, I think.
Or October.
I think August for US, and I think it's October for
October.
international.
Yeah, they announced this in January, so I think for the October one, you no longer will have the essay.
Yeah, it's kind of whack because like the first article, like the first news article I see of it wasn't gonna come out till April. So the college board's like in January, it's like we're not doing SAT essays anymore,
Mhm.
and then no one knew about it until April. We love the college board; they're great.
Yep.
I love them.
So I mean, the
I have
essay
no
really.
idea.
I didn't either, and like I knew that subject tests were canceled because I had to look
Yeah,
that up while we were doing
Yeah.
these presentations. I didn't realize that essays were also canceled with that.
Essays are canceled. Yep, fun fact. But I mean, there was like controversy coming out with the essays anyways, where it was like, as long as you write more, you would score higher, no matter like if that writing was even better, the graders would just give you a higher score if you wrote more. So I feel like that's why the essay was taken out. So next week is actually going to be review in general, and we have some Kahoots and Jeopardy prepared. So if you're interested in those, please come and join us. That'll be fun.
I'm also going to plug, especially since you guys are high schoolers that will be going into college soon. We're also going to plug this week's conversation club, which does have to do with college life. So if you're able to make it, that would be great. Conversation club will be Thursday from, Marcella, correct me if I'm
3 to
wrong.
4.
Thank you. 3 to 4 Central Time. So if you're able to
So-
make it, it'd be great. You get to learn a little bit more about college life from the perspective of college students. So
Okay, thank you very much. See you next week.